What up? It's Abstract Square Podcast. We on episode 18. I know the number this time. I finally know the number.
Where you get this energy from, yo?
Definitely.
I'm still putting on my headphones and shit.
Yo, once again, we back in this fucking fly ass studio.
Yeah, this place is beautiful, man.
Got some guests.
Nah, she's not a guest, man. I told y'all, once you've been here once, that's a wrap. You could come to the pod anytime.
Mm-hmm.
Jessica's in the building.
Hello, everyone.
Go get your own drink out the fridge.
Thank you. I took Thomas's drink and then realized there was no mixer.
Yeah.
And it's dark liquor. Y'all know I like
You know how we do.
Oh, man.
So this is
B,
a...
you sound like After Dark.
Yeah.
Like right now?
You already know what it is. But yeah, we got a fun little agenda up here today. We want to get mixy. We want to talk about dating. We want to talk about life. We want to talk about friend zone. We want to talk about emotional access. Like, we don't even know what that means, but we're going to try to figure it out today.
We do have another guest coming. She's fucking late, though. I'm upset.
What if she's lying?
No, I spoke to her. She's in an Uber.
Oh,
We're not going to intro her yet. We're going to wait. I'm tight, though. She late.
I know. Chad's always on time.
I just know some women that have commitment issues, so I didn't know if...
Yo, talking about commitment issues, I'm curious about that. Do you ever deal with a woman with commitment issues?
What you mean? I got them. I got commitment issues.
Forget the woman, I got it.
Forget the woman. I got commitment issues, yo.
I mean, Jess, have you ever been around?
Welcome.
Yo, our special.
She's like, they've been talking shit about you. I'm like, wow.
Not at all.
Jazz, what up?
Hi, I don't know who Jazz is. Hi, I'm Julie. Good to see
Oh,
we talking to Juicy today.
We
That's
talking to
whiskey. That's monkey
Juicy.
shoulder.
you. Whiskey and what?
That's just whiskey straight.
She's
Nigga,
Juicy.
the fuck? I'm gonna just drink whiskey straight?
Get up, level up. What
Wow.
you want? Some ginger ale? I got Coke and ginger ale. What do you
Ginger, please. Thank you. What the fuck I look like?
want? Yo,
Hi.
Hey, Thomas.
Julie.
You know Chad.
It's been years. I've heard you have a lot of shit to say.
Yo.
Nigga, you got 10 minutes to handle your shit. You ain't using this brand for free, nigga. I worked hard for it. Hi, Jess. It's my friend.
Hi, baby.
Good to see you.
They tried to come for Howard, by the way.
Brian, what
They
did you
tried.
tell Jules?
Tried.
I ain't tell her
Your
Your
nothing.
wife, I just saw your wife and your beautiful daughter. Your daughter is gorgeous.
Thank you.
Isn't she gorgeous? I
But
love
she,
her.
she's like, hi. And then your wife was like, oh, wow, they've been talking really bad about you.
But why
Well,
me,
nobody has
though?
been doing
Nobody
that.
was.
So just know that I'm not
Yo,
funny,
Brian's like, Chad got beef with you. I'm like, over a tweet. And then I explained to Brian my take. And he was like, oh.
Brian didn't even mention that.
Is that the
Yeah,
emotional
that's the
access?
emotional
Brian,
access
why
conversation.
ain't you cue me up?
The beef
on
is
that?
in public. What are you talking about?
There's no beef. The beef is in Chad's
Right.
head.
That sounds crazy.
no.
There's
It's
no
right.
beef.
Wait a minute.
All right, hold on.
I
Stop.
have no idea what this emotional access
All right, let's
conversation is
stop.
all about. So
Let's
we
go
take
on.
it back to the beginning.
First off, wait.
Let's give some
Are
context.
you in a mood?
First off, keep your
Doja
beef out of
Cat.
public.
Doja Cat is canceled.
Wait, can okay,
First
Jess
off,
is
there's
going to
no beef.
Okay, but
No beef.
wait, hold on. Before we get to that, Jess wants to know, what is this whole emotional
plugging
access
your
thing?
shit,
I'm sorry,
Jess.
you plugged it on mine like 7 times. What is this?
So there was a
Twitter
tweet
beef.
maybe
Thank
like
you.
a year ago. There's no beef because the bitch doesn't beef. You see my skin, it's clear for a reason.
Shut up.
That was mad fly.
She ain't worried about y'all. She ain't worried about y'all.
You know, in the year 2018, our Lord, I do not let niggas stress me out. Okay. Amen. So there was a tweet, something about, I vaguely remember because I wasn't pressed, but there was a tweet about men, particularly black men, using black women for emotional access. And I said, yes, black men use black women as their therapists. And I 120% stand by that statement.
Okay.
If you would like to counter that freely, you can. But you slid into my mentions, you said some shit, and I hit you with the K.
No, you did not hit me with the K. Josie did not hit me with the K.
I don't believe
KK. It was
Okay, you know I
KK.
know you. I know it was more than a K.
She dismissed
No,
it.
there
KK.
was no
It was
K.
dismissive. Whatever the fuck I
Josie.
said was like,
Whatever.
If that's what you like, I said something snarky and then was just like, but I'm not continuing the conversation with you. Was the gist of what I said.
Oh, see, that's not how it translated.
So
I think that's the
Chad,
power
Chad,
of
what did
like
I
black
say?
women.
Julie, that's not what you said.
Your teeth look very nice.
Thank you.
What did I say?
Julie, I miss you. It's been like years.
It's been a minute.
It's been
Jazzy,
years.
what the fuck is popping?
Nah,
You been doing your
Julie.
thing.
She remember she checked
Oh,
you. on that.
my bad.
Juicy.
Juicy, what's been good? You've been out here doing your thing, Smile Brown. Look, thank you for blessing
Oh, we need
us.
an intro because the brand is Brolic.
Oh, but like intros happen from 7 to 7:10. So let's just be clear about
I'm
that.
not mad. You were. I thought you were trying to segue an intro in. I was trying to alley-oop you. My
Yeah.
bad, nigga.
Yeah, we know. We here.
Like, we can keep talking.
We
Does
here.
nobody need to know who I is?
Yeah.
Shit. Okay,
But
Chad. So
But
what was my
anyway.
reply?
You can give her introduction.
Chad,
Nah,
we can do an
definitely
outro.
introduction.
We can do intro as an
Look,
outro.
we got a wonderful person in the building, Juicy, YouTube creator, founder of Smart Brown Girls, pushing the culture forward, making sure that she is out here standing strong for black
Howard
women.
University.
HU.
Thank you.
But go check her out. We'll leave all the info in the link. We don't have to talk too much about it because the brand is that strong that you probably already know who she is.
So Chad, what was my response?
Yo, I'm about to pull up your response.
Pull it up.
But-
Is it
that
still up?
intro,
Because I
right? Let's
deleted
get into
all
it.
my tweets.
Yo,
But go ahead.
you know,
Why?
it's tough for me to go back
Because you see how people getting canceled, bitch?
Yeah.
You just never know what the fuck you might have said in your past
Some
life.
popcorn. It's just like,
You
Yo.
never know. You never. People out here digging up tweets. I just,
yeah,
there
it's
was-
tough for me because
wait,
people
is this
mention me
tweet
all
from
the
a
time
year
on
ago or from a
Twitter,
week
so-
ago?
Wow. if you was that, if you was mad enough that your wife,
Yo, I was
Brian,
never that mad.
Everyone a year later
Yo.
had said something about me. You should have
First,
screenshotted that
Jazzy,
shit when you had the
yo,
chance.
it-
Wait a minute. Was
Receipts.
this? Wait, is this tweet from a year ago?
No,
Yes,
it's not.
It is.
Yo, yeah, it's a couple
No,
months
it was
ago.
not a couple weeks ago.
No, a
the
couple
lies,
months ago.
tales, and fallacies.
Maybe
I
you
be
just
busy.
sound like that for
What?
you or something. It might have been because I know we brought it up like 2
Nah.
months ago. He might have been in your timeline. From
I
a year
have
ago.
questions.
Oh, y'all had a
I
whole
don't know.
conversation while we being present.
Jazzy,
Oh, the
hit the
group
group
chat.
chat.
I'm
Hit the
not.
group
Y'all
chat.
not killing my
Yeah, this shit
phone
group
battery
chat.
for me to argue with niggas. The
Nah,
fuck?
here it goes. July 3rd, 2018. It's not funny, but carry on. That was your
That was a
response.
K, nigga.
Oh,
That was
Spicy.
a K.
Spicy.
Julie, how is that a K?
Spicy.
I meant what.
Yo,
I
Nah,
That's not a
What she
K.
say? I said
what I said. Thank you.
Yo, because-
that was a K. You got a
She
couple
said
extra words,
swerve.
but I hit you with the K. Period,
Yo,
nigga.
because
it's
yo,
not
my
funny.
tweet.
Carry on.
Yo, my tweet to that
Okay.
was the emotional access question mark, and I the
LOL.
laughing, LOL.
Okay, what's the original tweet? Let me see the
ready?
original tweet. Yes.
So, someone, I'm not gonna mention the name, men tell you they want to be friends just so they can keep you around as an option in case their current situation falls flat. Your response to that was, men tell you they want to be friends because they want the emotional access to you without reciprocity.
Okay. You have 8 minutes to explore this concept. What?
Yo, now that I hear it again,
The feminist. I love it.
I'm not wrong.
it kind of is.
Oh my gosh!
Can I get some more
can
monkey?
we
When
talk
you-
about what that
First of all,
really
Monkey
means?
belly.
I'm
What's this
gonna
called?
say this. Twitter is not the
Not the place.
in my humble opinion. Twitter really isn't a place to interrogate, like have a dialogue, understanding, right? And a lot of times when I dismiss people like that,
You
one,
dismissed me.
I dismissed you, nigga, because I know you, and I didn't want the conversation to go personal because I felt like it would go there. Then two, it's also that like Twitter, the way Black Twitter works, people are so quick to drag. If I have a conversation with you on Twitter, it might feel like it's between you and I, but
Yeah.
it's not.
Yeah.
Then someone's gonna take it out of context. It becomes this whole big thing.
Yeah.
So a lot of times I just like, nigga, if you want to talk about it, we can see each other and talk about it. We
Yeah.
here now.
We here now.
It's no beef. We're not
No.
gonna throw no bows.
Juicy, you know
know
I'm
what I
never
mean?
beefing with you.
Nigga,
We
in
had-
your head you was
No,
because
he
your
wasn't.
wife
Yeah, he was.
said to me.
Juicy, we was
Every day been talking about
Come
me.
on,
Chad was
yo.
ready, yo. She was like, yo, she
Yeah.
coming for me, yo.
Wow.
Yo,
He was
'cause
ready.
I know
Wow.
Juicy.
But-
She
And
like to come for
but I
niggas,
was
though.
not wrong. I would like to say, Black men are a lot of emotional labor to deal with.
Okay.
Okay.
120
I
fucking
agree
percent.
with that 1,000%.
I'm the first one to say that.
Y'all
black
know,
men have
but
PTSD.
I mean,
Yo,
black
time
women
out.
have
Time out. You a
PTSD.
sucker
Y'all
right
are
now.
But the
way
thing is,
too
But
much.
let me don't
I'm
hyphen
being
my
honest
sentiment
with you,
though.
like-
I would like to get to the period.
All right.
What we trying to say though is.
Was that
is-
shade?
It was not
Well,
shade. I'm just telling y'all, don't interrupt me though.
not shade.
That was listen. We were supporting your comment.
And I appreciate it, but
We were supporting
There's
what
a-
you were saying, and
there's a
sometimes
semicolon,
we need
nigga.
to.
I gotta
Yes,
get
the
the
semicolon
semicolon.
out.
The semicolon semicolon needed support.
Okay.
The semicolon needed support.
Yo, you really smart. You went to Howard?
Don't do it. Don't do it.
Don't come
This
to
is
the house.
HBCU beef.
Yes.
And what associate's program did you go through? Please inform me. Okay.
He was a Clark.
He went to Clark, Atlanta.
Yo, relax, Jules.
You went to
Don't
the
even do
ACU?
it.
Don't do it.
Don't do it.
Don't do it.
Yep, sip your
Listen, I'm on
sip
your
your
side though.
whiskey.
Like, I'm on your
Don't
side.
do it.
Look, I'm not gonna get into a classist
All right, let's talk.
argument
Let's
with
get back
you.
to this
But
emotional
what I'm
labor.
gonna say,
Emotional labor.
but because like yes, black men take a lot of emotional labor to deal with, and what I say that is that
Amen.
black people have PTSD. Even though Joy DeGuyer is a doctor that came with that is homophobic as fuck. May she rest in peace. She is. We will still acknowledge that yes, we absorb a lot of trauma as black people, and what I think black men understand is that they absorb a lot of trauma. I don't think they understand what black women absorb, and so what black men do is y'all are shitty friends to each other. I'm not even gonna say this is like
I don't know how.
I'm gonna say black men are shitty friends to each other.
They
I
loyal
don't
to a
even-
fault.
I'm not even
let
on
me
feminist
because
shit.
I'm not
just
even
like
it's not even so much that I
agreeing.
think of this as in like when I say this whole that y'all are emotional labor, it's not even like I'm not even necessarily speaking in the form of like oppression that y'all put on the black women. I'm not even trying to get to that point. I'm saying that like
There's a
when
point
I
to
look
be
at
made there, though.
what there is a point, but that's we ain't got enough time for all that. But when we think about the way y'all are friends to each other, I think as a black woman that I can have really intimate, deep conversations with my homegirls. I do not see that reflected amongst black men.
But
Maybe y'all do. Maybe
Yeah, look at this
Yeah.
podcast.
So,
maybe y'all
hold
do,
on.
but y'all are not the
Right, we're not
y'all
the
are kind of
norm,
an
but,
anomaly.
like-
y'all
I've
not the norm.
experienced that, to be honest.
PTSD
with you.
aside-
I
Well,
don't think
thank
I've
you.
experienced
I'm
that.
kinda
Thank you.
But like PTSD aside, and understanding that it's all relative in terms of
And so
Can't
black
put
men
that
tend
aside,
to
but,
turn to black women as that sort of intimate conversation.
And a punching bag.
I don't,
I know. I've been.
maybe
I mean,
short,
yes,
yeah. But I think
emotional
there is this
punching bag.
idea that like you can have like I have a lot of homeboys who I'm very very close with, and I'm just like nigga, where the fuck your friends at? Like why
But
am
you know
I the
what?
one?
No, I hear you. Was that a period or a semicolon? Because I don't want. I
don't want that was an ellipse, but I'll let you go.
I don't want to interrupt again. Excuse me. But here's the bottom line. I agree with you 100%.
Yeah, you're not allowed to give me that.
No, okay. Here's what I'm hearing, and I agree with you 100% that men take a lot of emotional effort, and when I say emotional punching bag, because I'm thinking about my own personal experience, is that when men go through shit, they tend to take it out on their partner. They do.
But I think that's a whole different direction.
That's a whole different.
No. I understand that, but that's still part
But
of the
that's
whole
the point
PT.
she wants to make.
That's the
Jess
point
is gonna
I
make.
want to make. I'm making my point. Thank you. Jess has a point. But the bottom line is, I agree with you 100%. The one thing.
That's not the name of
No,
your
Jess wants to
podcast,
know.
right? Jess has a point.
That's the third plug. Okay.
Shout out.
Shout out.
Is it on Apple iTunes? Everywhere
It
you
is on
find
iTunes.
podcasts?
It's on
Yo,
SoundCloud.
we
It's on
gonna
everything.
start charging you for this shit,
I
Jess.
didn't charge you when you on my podcast. talking about
I ain't charged nobody, and I get 5K.
Jess, I wanna
Speaking
hear your point. Let me
engagement.
hear
Go
your point,
ahead.
Jess.
Say, what
I wanna
Julie
hit-
said that
I
for
wanna
ain't
hit-
free. That's what
But
she
you
said
know,
on
I
Walking.
agree with Jazzy 100%. To a degree, I do.
So
Sorry,
watch out. with her
I've
name.
known. First of all, I've known her.
The
I
brand
remember
is-
when.
That'll
It's
mean
already dead. I
streets
cannot
gonna
promote
talk
this shit.
about
Y'all done
that.
said my name
Here's the
so
thing.
many times.
Julesy, I remember when
We
Julesy
could cut
and
it out.
before Julesy, I've known her since 18, 19 years old. I've known
Nigga, you
her.
met me when I was a sophomore in college. 18.
I said 19. Did you hear me say 18, 19? 19 years old.
We ain't got much time. We got to get to these
But
points.
here's the bottom line. The bottom line is this. I agree with your saying to an extent. I have seen, and I will say this, that I've seen a lot of male friendships that are actually very solid, and there's an emotional depth to those male friendships. In the male groups that I've seen, there's a loyalty to a fault, but there's a loyalty that is hard for me to see. I guess at this age because I've been through some things with women, but men, y'all dudes be having each other's back.
But
I
that's not what I'm
understand
talking
this.
about.
Can
I
I
think
get
the
your back?
loyalty thing is cool. The fact y'all can ride out for each other.
For sure.
There's no accountability though. The accountability part is what I have a bit of a.
agree with that.
I'm
I don't.
playing the
With-
same game you playing. I agree. Because I agree. I just told my wife recently that I feel like a black woman is way more equipped to raise a young man than y'all ever been because y'all deal with so
But my
much shit.
homegirls also have no problem
from
correcting
us.
me. Like my homegirls will tell me flat out when I'm wrong and like chide me about that shit, and like they're not gonna make me feel comfortable about my wrongness. A lot of men that and I'm not even talking about men that I try to date, just like, you know, I live in Texas now, and so like in that social scene, like I had a dude like straight up like OD stand me up. and like OD. Like I wasn't trying to laugh. Like
That's
don't
not
laugh.
funny.
Because let me tell you. There's levels.
How is
I'm
there
not explaining
levels
it
to
because
being
like
set up?
I wasn't trying to holler this dude at all. Like
Yeah.
somebody else in Dallas was like, yo, you need to meet him. His office is right by where you live. He's a businessman. He's a real estate agent in Dallas, whatever. So he like hit me up like, yo, come to happy hour. I'm like, oh, I gotta get dressed. Give me 15. I'll come. All right, we're here. So there's a spot in Dallas called Happiest Hour. So I just thought that's where they were. So I went. They weren't there. And I was like, oh, I'm at Happiest. And that was my own L. I didn't ask the right questions.
Yeah.
He's like, oh, we're at Stir. Come. So I come to Stir. They're not there.
He didn't try to get you to where the next destination was.
No,
Like,
didn't hear nothing.
Didn't give a
nothing.
fuck?
Mind
Oh.
you, he's a real estate agent. His office is literally across the street from Stir.
Damn.
Heard nothing until I
Wow.
saw him like 3 weeks later.
And what did you say?
He was like, "Oh, you was mad, so I just gave you time to get over it."
He said
He
he
was
made
said- he
an
said-
assumption that
Yeah,
you
he
were
was
mad.
like, "You was mad," so I just, I didn't want to fuck with. I didn't want to deal with it. That's
Wait,
ex-
what did you say though
He
when
was
you
with his
had to go
friends?
to the next
Was he with his
destination?
friends?
Did you say something
No,
slick?
I was like, no, I didn't. I was just like, "Yo, where you at?" And then I just left it because I figured, he's a real estate agent. There's no way he's at least not gonna hit me up over the weekend and be like, "Yo, I apologize. Let's get up for brunch or something." Like literally, my mindset was, "Oh, he'll just hit me up later
Yeah.
and be like, yo,
Yeah,
my bad. Let me take you out for brunch or something."
Was he with his people, like with his dudes?
I don't know
Was he
who
with his
he
people,
was
like
with.
his
I don't know
dudes?
what he was doing. He might.
Because to your point of dudes like being bad friends, all his friends would be like, "Yo, fuck
Well,
it, let's
maybe
go."
because I
They
was
would've did that
introduced
to
to him
me,
through
like-
a homeboy, and my homeboy kept being like, "Yo, you need to kick it with this dude, because he's good people's." So then we're at this bar, and like he says what he said to me about like, "Fuck f you." Oh, we gotta wrap up.
Nah, fuck it. We can pay him for this shit. It's
Wow.
good. We into it now. Let's
So
go.
like my bad.
For 45 minutes.
He was like, he said, you was mad, so I didn't want to bother. And then he tried to like, I was like, that's really offensive because you're a big agent, like you're a broker, and you go to a listing, like you're showing somebody apartments or whatever,
Yeah.
and they don't show up. Like you understand what it means for somebody to waste your time.
Right,
So I don't
right.
think this is not a wild concept when I say you wasted my time.
Right.
Why you got to bring my business into? I was like, you know what? We in the public. I don't need to argue with you.
He got sensitive.
I was
he got
like-
sensitive on
Emotional.
the
Nah,
next-
he was just like,
Jules, you hit him in his soul though.
I did not hit him in the side. He was just like, it's my
How
business.
is that hitting him in his soul?
And
Yo,
I'm like, but
because you put his career.
But like you have a frame of reference for what I'm addressing with you. You wasted my
and that's
time.
how
Yeah.
we
I did
not
that's how we
insult your-
rationalize with you.
But I'm trying to say,
you
yo,
see
you
it
have
from
a
your
you
point
have
of
a real.
view.
I'm trying to give your real experience because right now you thinking I'm a bitch, and I'm telling you, nigga, I'm not some motherfucking bitch because I don't even want to fuck you. Got 2 kids, I'm good. But like, bruh,
Woo!
Wait.
nigga, you get one gestation period out of
Bring
me.
that back. What?
But look,
One what?
gestation.
Wait.
You
One
can get
gestation
somebody
period.
pregnant one time, but whatever.
Shout out to biology,
So-
did
man. I
not do
like
well
that.
in biology.
So, but he did that, and then he was like, "Oh, well, you looking real nice today," and I said, "K," and I walked away. Right?
Yo,
I
you
let
gonna
it
stop
die.
Kane?
You gonna stop carrying niggas out here?
I was like, okay.
Game is crazy.
Jules, you gonna stop
Because
Because
Kane
he's just like, well,
everybody,
you know.
yo.
And so then the nigga that introduced us, he was like, "Yo, what's up with you and so and so?" And I explained. He's like, "Oh yeah, my dude's a savage."
Oh, so he knew that already?
He's like, and I was like, but like,
You need better
you talking
people.
like you're saying he's
But
a
then he
savage
also-
to me as if like one, I'm someone like he tried to like fuck me and like bounce or something. Like I'm literally like I don't understand how like we're building like
I understand her point. now.
relationships here or whatever.
Yeah, that's
and you're,
a-
you're and you're
That's
just
some
you're
fuck
like
shit.
and your
Always
response to me
understandable.
and like in Dallas like within this like Me Too shit, right? So like there's a lot of men that have gotten called out in the Dallas like promoter scene, and it's like
The Dallas
For me
for
too.
like
promoter
sexual
scene.
assault and rape
That's
and stuff.
funny.
Dallas
Because Josie, right before you
Yeah.
walked in, we were having 10 Commandments of fuckboys.
Yeah.
We
We
gotta
was at-
add that shit.
We was at number 3.
We was
so
at number 3. We
you
might.
got any-
Actually, I
But
was having a hard
But
time.
it's like
Yeah,
how
so you're
often
still
you
gonna use those
encounter
kind of
men. It's
syllables?
like a lot of. So I think Twitter is a really bad place to take opinions of like exactly what's happening in the world. But I do.
right. Dismiss it.
Was you ready? Was you ready? But I think when we think there's a lot of things like I think within like the world of patriarchy between black men and black women, I just want more accountability. I just want like I don't need to be calling up to a black man and telling him what he's doing wrong. I would like his homeboy to just be like, nah, nigga. You know how often Carl, come on. How often have you dated a
I
black
mean, we
man?
talk about it.
Right,
Yeah,
let me
we
finish.
talk about it.
I have a
about
thought.
it.
That's the
I have a
definition
thought. Let me
of
finish this
real
thought
nigga
though.
shit.
How often have you dated someone, not seriously, but just like going on a date, like regular shit, and you've been like, he did some shit, and you're like, where the fuck your friends at? Do you know how often we have this refrain when we dealing with black men that we're like, don't you have friends to talk through this shit with? Like, your friend.
So you just went past his
no,
fault
because
and his
it'd be
mother
like,
and went
because
straight
you
to
know,
a friend?
look,
I mean, at this age,
we
that's
are
more to my friends
when it comes
about
to dealing
my
with the
business and my
emotions,
mother.
we are all pressed, men and women, right?
Yeah.
I be hella pressed when I like a nigga. Be like, damn, I like you, nigga. This shit is not comfortable, right? It's not. And then you know what I do? I pick up the phone and I call my homegirl and I be like, I'm tight because this nigga doing shit. Da, 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 da. And she be like, girl, calm the fuck down. Put your phone down and don't bother him.
Yep.
And then a nigga do some shit to you and you be looking at him like your friends didn't talk you down from the ledge.
Whatever. I mean,
No,
look,
no,
Like,
whatever
come on,
that. Can we
that's
lean
not
in
what
on
it
that?
is.
All right,
Can
fine,
we lean
fine,
in?
fine,
That shit is good. That shit is real.
Whatever.
Let me.
We
I
need
mean,
to.
that
I
shit is.
think
that
we
shit is
should
mad
lean in
real.
on that and have a conversation
Nigga,
about
it
that.
be like
all
some.
right.
It be like
Hey,
some
yo,
tough
lean
shit.
on
It
your
be
own
like some
podcast.
rough shit. And
I'm
you
okay
be
with
like,
that.
all
I'm
you
gonna
needed to
say-
do was have this conversation with your homeboys, and they would have been like, nah, bruh, you doing too much. Calm down. You know what I mean? Like
that's if you know about it in the first place. So don't.
Yeah.
What I
But
want
you're
to
But
be
we're
basic
talking about
conversation.
real basic shit,
what
right?
I want to be clear about is like there's men who have issues with communication in general, right? Then there's black men who already go through this PSTD or whatever. I don't want you to assign shitty friendship on the fact that there's all these other things. Now, this is not making excuses, but still, it's all relative. Like, I got 3 great friends in this room, right? We check each other all the time, but it's
Heavy.
still relative. The way y'all been communicating at 3 and 4 years old since y'all been growing up versus what we've been doing, which is fucking punching each other in the face.
But that's what I'm saying. Y'all are shitty friends to each other. Y'all have growth. Y'all have room for emotional maturity. And that's not to say. I think that's a way.
I think
Part of that
that's-
is part of that
that's
is
lower.
yeah. The part. So look, everyone participates in patriarchy, and everybody is harmed by patriarchy. So when we start talking about patriarchy, it's not that only women are harmed by it. Like a lot of the shit, particularly for black men, is negative for y'all too.
Yeah.
And so it's not that black men aren't good friends in their own sense, but I think there's room for like emotional maturity that I think women have more access to than men do.
I agree with that.
But why can't we lean on each other as humans, though? As
It's not
humans.
chemical.
That's
No,
chemical.
Wait,
but
wait,
Chad,
no.
wait,
society.
It is
she's
chemical.
saying, like, I hear you with this as humans, but the reality is that women, like, okay, and I'm glad you, like, after 7 minutes, major period, because now I get it.
Wow, shade. Did you plant a palm tree during my 7 minutes and
I think I
sprouted?
did. I think it's
And you
sprouted.
felt like you had enough
No,
leaves
but
to
I'm
shade
gonna tell
me
you,
like that.
I'm
Wow.
eating from the palm tree,
Yo.
whatever oranges grew from that, because I hear you now, and I'm glad that you made the point, because I see where you're coming from. Because at first I was struggling with where you're coming from, because I was thinking that.
That's why you got two ears in your mouth.
Is that
That's
shade
what
to
I'll
me?
tell you.
Listen.
Nah, I gotta
What
make
are we
sure
doing?
you know.
But
check
here's
you,
my
you know
thing.
what I'm saying?
Here's what I'm saying. It's like I hear where you're coming from, and I think before you made your point, I was thinking the opposite of that when I was like, well, men are very loyal to each other. They're actually really close, whatever. But I hear your point in terms of accountability and being able to open up and be vulnerable, and then the men say, well, actually, my dude, like, you need to not be doing this and be doing that. Because to your point,
It's a different
like
caliber,
when I
man.
talk to my homegirls about things I'm going through, they're like, Jess, put the phone down. Don't. Jazzy, we hold up.
Can I tell you some
Jazzy,
shit, though, Jazz?
we're not going to talk about it in
Julesy.
this. Julesy, sorry. Damn. Okay, we're actually sorry.
make
We're
my edits
actually real
crazy.
friends, so forgive me. Julesy, we're not going to talk about it in this forum because everybody's friends. If you hear
Yeah.
me, but you stop snoring. But there was this circumstance where we were together and stuff was going down, and you looked me in my face.
Oh, I
as my
checked
girl.
you. I know
were
exactly
like,
what the fuck you talking about. And then
you
you
were
didn't talk to
like-
me for a couple months.
You were like, no, at the bar in Dallas, and you said, I didn't talk to you. You said, put your phone down, do not respond,
yeah.
and that's what women do for each other. I don't know if dudes do that. for
Nah,
each other.
because yo, B and I have been in some situations where he's checked me.
Okay,
Real
with your
niggas do that
other
for
friend,
each
you
other,
know, I
not men.
dated
It's
your
a
other
different
friend's
conversation.
college friend, and ain't nobody check that nigga.
Ooh.
I would like to say somebody from Temple. We're gonna leave that shit
Ooh.
alone. But I
Oh,
definitely,
I know who that.
I
Wow.
definitely dated. You know who I dated,
Yeah.
right? And I dated him, and I met him in the room with all his other homeboys. And I
Yeah.
remember being like, "Yo, he has trash ass friends." But at this point, I wasn't thinking too much about it.
That's different.
I was
That's
like, this
different
nigga,
caliber.
is it a different caliber? Because Julius is a part of that caliber.
Shut up, my
Nah,
dude.
Julius.
Julius is not a part of that caliber.
He
yo.
is. He's part of that crew, and
Shout out my dude, Jew.
and like
Being a
Julius,
part of that crew and being a
Julius
different caliber. is
had a
different
conversation with me after the fact. And I remember so many times I was like, nigga, where the fuck are your friends? Like, cause like you just doing shit that just don't. It just doesn't make sense.
Yo, we don't got friends like y'all.
Like
got
you
friends.
just
This
you're
shit
like
different.
causing
We
a lot
don't
of
have
trouble
friends
for
like that.
yourself. And I just feel like you should just have someone that like.
Yo, but wait, we don't really have friends like that. We don't talk.
We
like
just don't talk every day, but we have
got a
real
group
intimate
chat.
conversations. Like she'll tell me what the fuck is going on, and I'm not, and I don't. We keep it 100 with each other.
We talk about how to survive. Y'all talk about how to live.
I
It's
mean,
a
I
little
don't,
different.
that might make a lot of sense, actually. Yeah.
That's a fact.
Seriously.
But my question
But
is,
you guys also
wait,
talk
hold
about
on.
your relationships too, so let's
Nah,
not front.
But not,
They be
very
like, yo,
though.
she licked
Very
the balls.
rarely.
It was
I
great.
have-
That's what they
very
talk
rarely.
about.
I have a
Yeah.
question though.
this is true, but like at the end of the day, is whatever. All right, go ahead.
I have a
Chad. I didn't mean to
question.
cut you off.
But why can't we lean into y'all?
Lean into us how?
It's not that
Emotional
you can't.
labor.
It's not that you can't. It's that you, if you're not leaning into the people that like, I'm not a man, right? There's certain
Right.
things that I don't. Like there are just certain ways in which I walk this world and the perspective that I have that is innate to the fact that I am my own personal identity. And I think in the context of a relationship, I personally do not believe in this theory that my spouse should be my everything. I don't want to be in a relationship where my spouse is simply my everything. I think in order for a relationship to be successful, we need to have other self-fulfilling relationships, right?
agree.
I need to
agree
have
with that.
other relationships that are emotionally fulfilling. And I find a lot of times when with men, emotionally fulfilling relationships, like people that fulfill other needs. Like your home, okay, right?
I'm just letting my wife
Right,
hear it.
yeah, no, I mean,
Feel
like,
that. That's
but
all.
like, I mean, but maybe, okay, there's an
You know,
episode on the,
fuck
so,
your emotions.
okay, first of all, there's an episode
My
on Hidden
shit.
Brain about marriage and like how the fact that this ideal of marriage being for love is a very Western ideal that's actually based on, like as all things, on capitalism.
Patriarchy.
It is all.
Marriage
It's
is
based on
political.
capital. It's profit, right?
Right.
We have pushed this idea of marriage for love based on we can monetize it. And historically, in society, people didn't necessarily marry for love. They married for who was in the same industry as them, who could but everything we do is
Politics.
political. Even today, like we might marriage for love, but it's still political. So I think this concept of love then kind of morphed into I marry one person and that one person should be my best friend and that one person should fulfill my needs. I'm a big fan of Esther Perel, right? And she talks about people don't necessarily cheat because they like want to cheat. They cheat because of like, no, it's not even emotional. No, actually, tried it. They're cheating. They're cheating because they like. It's more so self-actualization. I can't say that word to save my life.
Actualization.
Yes, self-actualization. Like they are coming into themselves, and there's a part of themselves that they never acknowledged, and that person outside their relationships allows them to acknowledge that part of themselves. So it's not necessarily cheating because you're not fulfilling me or like because I don't love you, but there's a part of myself
The
that you just
realization
can't.
that you're a motherfucking creep, or
that you
like
can't be a part. Well, it's like some people.
not even creep, but
A lot of the ways that we move through society for the average person is that we have a perception of ourselves that we want to project, and so we do a lot of things to fulfill that projection. And so that's kind of what she's talking about. And now I've got so far away from the damn on point.
Don't matter, though.
Talking,
But I think that's
what
a
what I'm trying to say in the concept of like
there, girl.
I don't
Get there.
need
Take your
my
time, boo.
significant other to be my everything because I would hope that he could be my
Can
he
he
should
be
be
your
my
most
like he's
things?
gonna be the bulk of my things. Yes, but I know your wife knows you are not cheating. That's great. So what I'm saying is, like I should have other friends who fill other things because
get what you're going.
there's gonna be points where I don't love you. There's gonna be points where we're mad at each other, and when you become my everything, where's my outlet?
Right.
You know what I mean? When there's certain things that like we're dealing with each other because marriage is a business relationship and there is growth and there is evolution.
Can we vet the outlets? But
We
can
do.
vet
We should vet the outlets. We should know each other, be comfortable with each other. But I'm not. It's not nefarious. You know what I mean?
Right.
It's not like I'm going after somebody because f my wife. But it's more so like I would hope that the man that I'm with would have someone else that when he's frustrated with me, that I can trust.
Yeah.
Him being able to
Yeah.
level
Yeah,
out
yeah,
with,
yeah.
because I have a homegirl, but
that's not what
I
happens, though. That's not
innately,
what happens.
like
Let me
Jess
keep
is
it
one of my
100
homegirls that I will talk to certain things. I tend to keep friends who are very different from me because they give me a different perspective, and they will like. I'm not the most like feminine outwardly person, right?
But I love my jazz.
And so like
Josie.
Sorry, god damn it. I got my jazz.
y'all making it worse by correcting her. But like,
this
you know,
episode coming out in 2019.
Wild.
Like
don't y'all don't just
Shout
leave
out
it
to
leave it
Pro
alone.
Tools.
Y'all
Let me
can leave
live.
it
Let me live. I love my Josie. I love
But like
her.
like I could talk to her about certain things because she's a much more feminine person. She a little bougie.
Stop it, Thomas.
her
Look
rose.
at
Yeah, she'd be like, she'd be like
Extravaganza earlier.
I know you.
PG County.
I know
But
you're
you know what?
friends.
That's what I'm
PG
saying.
County, Maryland.
I know
Thank
I'm
you.
making sense here.
Yeah.
You
You're
You
making
know what I
sense.
mean?
You're
Like
making
you
sense.
are
it's-
making
and
a
it
ton of
balances a very because like a healthy relationship is a lot of work, and you need a like really.
Yeah.
I think the thing is that we tend to look at relationships in the context of just us and not the community that needs to surround it.
Right.
And so that's what I mean. Like, it's not that you can't lean into the woman; it's that you should have a community that you can also lean into.
It takes a village.
That's very true.
And so that's what I mean. I think a lot of us, both men and women, tend to think of, even whether we're heterosexual or whether we're queer or whatever, we tend to think of our significant others as a person that has to be the everything.
Can't be.
And then we put a lot of emotional labor on that other person that
my
is
soulmate.
wildly unfair to the, what's the word for like how successful your relationship can, the potential of your relationship.
So I guess I should talk more to you, Brian and Thomas, about my feelings.
Y'all should be more open and vulnerable.
You
Yes.
should.
Shout out to Shiggy, man. Hey, yo, shout out to Shiggy, man.
Easy love. No, but I am very glad that Julesy showed up because I was in.
She was never not going to show up.
No. What I'm saying is that I think that your perspective is very insightful.
I was going to
and
show up. I just haven't lived in New York for a long time,
I
and so I
know.
forgot about the
She lived in
travel
Texas.
here.
Yeah, it's different.
5 miles is a 20-minute drive in Texas.
Yeah.
I took an Uber. I was
drove?
5 miles away.
on a,
5.
on a Thursday
How long
afternoon.
did it take?
In the city.
40 minutes.
In the
Yo.
summer. In the summer.
Shout out to
Yo,
Happy,
so really,
Rush
I want
Hour.
to jump into something I saw on Facebook, and I know you were in Africa last year, right, Julesy? 2 years ago?
2 years.
Damn, it's been 2 years.
It's been 2 years, yes.
Yo, Julesy was living her best life out there.
Oh, I had a
was
really
like-
hard time, but yes, I was in Ghana for a whole 2 months. This is before the current.
Shout
Yeah.
out to the Gold Coast.
Okay.
This is before the current election, so I've heard it's gotten better with the newest president, with Nana Addo, I believe his name is. But I was there before that election.
Okay. So
That's important because when I say I had a hard time, people be like, "What?" I'm be like, "Yo, Doomstor was bad when I was there, bro. It was just bad."
yo, but from Instagram, I couldn't tell. You was living your best life.
Yo, can we plan this trip?
Let's
though?
go to
Can we
Accra.
Ghana?
Get it popping.
Yeah,
Go during Christmas time.
we
It's a
just do it
good.
real
It's a
quick?
good. Go for a week.
I
I
wanna
was
go
there
to
for
Senegal.
7 weeks. If you go to Senegal, I
Yeah, I
am
do.
there.
Wanna go to Senegal?
Accra versus Lagos. What
friends
was
love going to
talk
South
to me?
Africa.
I've
Senegal.
never been to Nigeria, and yeah, I would not go to Nigeria without a Nigerian.
I want to go to Senegal.
You can go to
African
Accra without a Ghanaian. I don't know that I
I got
recommend
some
going to
people
Lagos without a Nigerian.
in Senegal, so we can make
Well, let's
that
make a
happen.
move. Let's do it.
But I saw this Facebook post, and I thought of you because you were in Africa.
Mm-hmm.
This I'm not gonna mention her name.
Why can't
She's-
you mention her name?
Yo,
Because he don't know her.
Name names, nigga. N. Name names.
Sorry.
You know,
Anyway,
I be like,
get into it.
we gotta start. We gotta start the shit.
I've
been
It's
drinking.
hashtag N. Name names,
name.
nigga.
Names,
yo.
names,
Well,
nigga.
first off, her name is Melanie the Beautiful.
Oh wow. Okay.
Insecure much?
You're
Issa
a
Rae,
liar.
what? Like,
You're a liar.
She said, when you spend so many years fooling around with non-committal American men thinking, quotes, damn, are we going to date until I'm 70 or what? And you just finally give up on, quotes, the culture and try a different culture, then boom, God brings you an African king package with the best in-laws ever.
A generator and another
Pause the
bitch.
package, yo.
Go ahead. That's what the fuck that is, nigga.
Done.
I think there's a okay. So white supremacy is always going to supremacize, and if you have ever been to West Africa, and I think when I went to Ghana, I got a ton of questions about the men, and I think the thing was like, we tend to think of slavery happening in this vacuum, right?
Yeah.
Where like Africans were kidnapped from the coast of Africa and brought to the Americas, and like Africa was
But
left
everything is
alone.
pure over there, right?
Yeah, like everything
No.
is pure. The culture is so Wakanda. You know, it is what it is. But like colonization and slavery and colonization had like destroyed the societies, right?
yeah.
Like you have to remember that first of all, people were not just kidnapped and then put on a boat. They were kidnapped and then moved to the coast. They were kidnapped
Right.
inland.
Yep.
Moved to, so you have entire societies along
Yeah.
the coastline of these countries that are still thriving in these countries that came out of slavery.
Right.
So there's its own implications, right, of what it means when you have white governors, you know, having children with black women in Africa, or what it means when you have white governors inculcating themselves into the political structure of these countries. And then you have the rush to Africa during, was that post-World War I? And then remember that World War II wildly impacted Africa, both West and East as well. nigga, I be reading books, so
You already know what it is.
you know, like there's all these things that societally happen, and I think one, there's this exoticism that happens.
Yeah.
Anytime you meet someone from outside your culture. It is
exoticism
a word
a
today,
word?
and so where we there might be, you know, you can check it, but but there's a thing where we like look at other cultures that we're not necessarily an innate part of, and we tend to admire it. We forgive a lot, right? It's like for instance, living in New York is a major sacrifice. There's a lot you sacrifice to live here, but there are people that will never leave, and they love it here, and they think New York is the best place on earth.
Bugging.
Most often, these people are not necessarily from New York. You know, they lived in Kentucky, they got here, and it's like, wow, this is amazing.
Diversity.
Because it's different from what's familiar to them.
Right.
And I think this is the same thing that kind of happens with this idea of dating African men, because there's their own set of problems that comes with that, right? There's an own way that white supremacy and colonization has negatively impacted that structure.
Got some
I
examples
see where
on
you're
that?
going with this. Keep going.
You got some examples on that?
I'm fucking with this right now, Juicy.
Well,
Keep going.
Let's get mixy. What are these examples of white supremacy?
Okay, so for
impacting African
instance,
culture?
the legal immigration system creates a privileged class of people because a lot of people cannot gain access to that immigration system. A lot of people get denied even like basis of visas to this country or to the UK. And so, you know, particularly in Ghana, what I noticed is like, as a Black Ghanaian women who have gotten access to Western education typically cannot come back to Ghana and then like go to like the village or the bush, as they would say, and marry a local guy. A Black man who has gotten an education in the Western world can go back and bring up a girl who might not be as culturally aware as he is. But for women, because of patriarchy and the way that works, her pool of dating just becomes smaller with the more education she gets.
Following.
And so then when you get into most of the times when African American women are talking about dating African men, they're dating men who have immigrated to this country. And so you're already getting a certain pool of, you're getting a quality, right? Because, you know, like imagine if African Americans could immigrate en masse to someplace. Our cousin Bobo ain't making it through. We know that, right? you know that you and I might get through. You know what I mean? My grandpa named Rufus, right? You know what I mean?
I ain't really got
my
no
grandpa
named
named Rufus. I got quite a few relatives named Rufus. My uncle, Polk County, Florida. So,
gang.
I mean, your cousin, your tie, man, them niggas ain't making it.
They ain't going nowhere.
Man. Is your family African American?
No, we Guyanese, yeah.
So if you go back to Guyana, you got some ancient cousins.
I'm not gonna say that. I'm not gonna put
You got
Judy trying to put you out here.
Come on,
Not on the phrase that you
I got some ancient cousins that's trying to fuck cousins. Yeah,
you got cousins
Wait,
that you
what?
know is
Shut up, fuck
they are not.
right
You know,
here
if they
in Tennessee.
applied to immigrate on their own, you know that they could not make it to the
That's
system. Now because you know at one point in time relatives could pull other people through. They maybe sort of
kind of now,
but on their own, like they're not making it through this system, right? So we're often talking about like a privileged class of people that are in this country.
Yeah.
And they just like they're better. They tend to be better educated.
They have money.
They have money.
Yeah.
But that's part of because like how do you get through the system without money?
Right. Facts.
You don't.
Yeah.
So I think it comes with its own set of like patriarchy is always going to patriarchy. It's always going to be a thing. And culturally, you got to be careful because there's always that X factor. Anybody from another country that grew up in another country, you'd never know what they left back home.
Right. So basically,
Sometimes it'd be a wife.
We telling Melanie to get the fuck out of here. Basically,
We telling Melanie just to understand what it is. You have to interrogate what that actually is.
Fuck out of here, Melanie.
Right? Like, who are you actually encountering and what are you actually forgiving?
right?
Because you're dealing with something that you're not familiar with, so you're more open to it because all of it's new.
What do you forgive now that you know a lot? Like, what are you forgiving?
Nigga,
out
I'm
here?
single. Clearly, I ain't forgiving shit.
Clearly. But, like, all right, you meet somebody that fucking, I don't know, gives you the fucking butterflies, right? Like,
Yeah, I went on a date with a nigga last week, 2 weeks ago.
all right.
And I was like, damn, decent niggas exist. I love you. Marry me.
Done. Panties wet. Just throw them out there.
Are we
Okay.
exclusive? According to Jess.
Nah, I'll keep it. I'll keep it 100. So,
First of all, I don't.
Always.
I don't be asking.
I paid
if we're
for Tinder.
exclusive,
I
so
paid for Tinder, and I
Let's
was
talk about it.
I was actually trying to be a thought.
You were trying to be a
I
thot?
wanted to be a
Thank you,
thot.
Tom.
Yes.
Oh, listen, let me hear this. I need to hear this.
I was trying to be a
Shout out
thot,
to
so I
Match Media.
changed.
You said you paid for Tinder?
I paid for Tinder,
got it.
right? So we paid for
Wow.
Tinder. You could change your location. So I was out the country. And I was going to be in a city, and I changed ahead of time. I changed my location to this city, and so one of the first niggas that matched me. So when you pay for Tinder, you see all your matches. You see all the people that like you, so I don't have to swipe through. And so one of the first people that liked me from the city was
Smiling right now.
nigga, because
smiling
I'm
right
still
now.
like,
Oh, I
damn,
heard this
nigga.
Nigga, you liked me.
Ow.
I respect this. He was a lawyer in the city or whatever, right? And so like the problem is I had changed my location because I was like, I'm gonna be here for like a day or two. Let me get some dick and then keep it moving, right? And so
Wow.
Fuck
Ain't mad
it.
at that. Ain't mad
Ain't
at
I'm not
that.
nothing
mad.
wrong with
Ain't
it.
nothing wrong with
And
that.
so,
Take
give
notes,
me some
Jess.
educated dick. And so he hit me up.
that shade?
I told him I was only going to be there for a day. And he was like, oh, well, we have to meet up. And I said, yeah, cool. And then, like, he said, and, but the problem is, it was we matched maybe 4 days out from me getting there. And he just was texting me every day leading up.
Too much.
And it wasn't too much because I was like, oh, okay, it was vague conversation, whatever, regular. We were talking about me. Now it's like, oh, I
Favorite
was
color
in
type
South
shit.
of France, so we were just talking about like bougie white people shit, right?
me.
Like,
Oh.
yeah, talking about like Monaco and cars and shit.
Fucking rocks
cute.
on the beach.
So
Church feet.
the problem was, I was tired when we went on the date because I had just got back from Europe, and then I took a 6:00 flight to that location.
That's your
And then
woman, too,
we
wake
like
the
got
fuck up.
food, and I bit the food, and like when your chest is tired, like your chest starts.
Yeah.
And I was like, damn, I can't get a BPR. I can't get a bad pussy report, nigga. Like, fuck, I would be alone. Like,
That's a thing?
But you're in
it's
France, so you're
BDRs
good.
or everything. Now I was in the States at this point.
But like,
And then the problem was, I think the nigga was a fan, which completely dried my pussy up because this nigga sat there and gave me a whole speech about not applying for my PhD. And I was like, nigga, have you watched my videos? And he was like, no. And I was like,
yes, that
He
nigga did.
definitely
He
watched
it.
your videos.
So you don't fuck with fans?
Yeah.
You don't fuck with fans?
I don't. So no, I don't hook
He
up.
has a
I
dry
don't.
dick
No,
before
I'm
it.
not gonna hook up with some
Shrinkage.
We cannot. But the conversation was great, and he was totally cool, and I would have kept in touch with him. He's not. He hasn't hit me up, so I guess it ain't shit
But-
gonna pop off. But my whole thing was. We knew too many of the same people, and I had
Okay.
like the conversation because of the way the conversation went. I can't hook up with somebody who I'm talking about who we mutually know.
Yeah.
So if it's educated dick, and that's really the purpose, like why you?
Hey, yo, first of all, you don't got a brain, my nigga.
But it has respect. It has compassion.
It got all that, but it
I
got
was-
intelligence.
The whole point of that was I was
Better
way
Kanye.
too tired to do anything, and I was so tired I was missing all the cues. Cause like I text him after like, yo, I was so tired on the date, I don't even know how it went. Cause I realized maybe he was just trying to get the draws, and he didn't realize that I was trying to
Was he?
too.
Nah, he
Was he?
respects
I
you.
don't know.
He's a fan.
I think he's being respectful. I think he was being respectful, and it was just
Yeah.
like it was like I couldn't. I don't know
As a
what he
fan.
was trying to do or not.
Because
a
if
bitch
you're a
was
fan,
just
you're
trying
not
to
gonna
stay
come
away.
with no fuckboy
Be a
shit for
fan.
Josie. Like you don't do that, nigga, because you would get dragged
fuckboys
on
come
the
as
channel
fuckboys all
the
day.
next day.
But I got nothing.
No matter who
Tell him
you
why
are.
you mad, Jess.
Nothing.
Word. You ain't get no bad
It would have been
report.
trash
It
on my
would've been
part.
trash.
It would have been really bad.
So, but you're
good,
not in
though.
the
You played
States.
the
Why
game
is it
right.
matter?
I was in the States. That's the whole point. I was in the States.
That's why you gotta
Terrible.
listen. You heard, but it's good that you didn't get a bad report, so you won at the end of the
No
day.
BPRs in this bitch.
She didn't give. You didn't? Did you have sex
so
with
then
him?
you won.
No.
So there was no
BPR.
report to give.
No, that's why she
But I
didn't get
was
a report.
sad because it was
That's
like
the
we kept
point
them.
of
I was
this
like,
game,
yo,
Jessica.
nigga, you got your
Touche.
hairline and you can talk. Articulate. Wow. This is a
That
rarity.
Nigga, you gotta fix my arm, my nigga. Like,
Looking
my
crazy.
arm
Like,
look crazy.
damn,
My shit's
I
coming
like
back
it.
You ain't got no
in.
hairline, but you made it. You good though.
My
But
shit going. My shit going.
I'm educated as shit.
yo, B, you gotta get your hairline right. You gotta get that safari going,
Nah,
son.
nigga, fuck
No,
over.
Ryan's an artiste. He be doing that photography shit.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? I could back you.
You got options now.
Photography. The term is photography.
Photography.
Hey, yo, I ain't gonna lie. Y'all sound
Yo,
like y'all
let's-
drunk
It's
a lot.
Wow.
Let's
monkey
wrap it up.
shoulders.
Get the fuck outta
Hey,
here.
Juicy, hold
Drink
on.
a
Let's
little
just give
more.
you a second. Like, what you got going on? Talk your shit.
Oh,
Let us
wow.
know.
Is this
Yeah,
self-promotion?
talk about it.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
we do that.
Nigga, you an Aries.
We
You
have
an
to.
Aries. You could do that shit.
I'm
Stop it.
actually a horrible self-promoter.
All right.
But
well,
hi, I'm Julesy. Bitch, I'm not broke. I don't need to
fuck
promote
with you.
myself.
Everything is in the fucking.
That's another
Hence,
emotion.
she's a Howard girl.
You
Love
see
her.
But I'll spell it out. It's Joulelzy.
Shout out
If
to
you
the
ever
Real
want to
H.O.
find me, that's my name.
This
everywhere.
another episode,
With
man.
an at in front of it. Thank you.
Even though you was late, thank you for coming out, Julesy.
Thank you for having
Yo,
me.
Juicy,
It's
yeah,
all
what
love,
though?
Chad.
Yeah, you
you have
know
a
it's
beautiful
all
family
love.
now.
You
You
know
know,
it's
I be
all
liking your pictures on Instagram.
Juicy, you know it's all love. Don't you know?
You should
Yeah,
pay $500 per like that, Juicy. Like,
Yo,
Anyway.
no
On
lies,
your
real
picture.
quick. When I came for Juicy, I was like, yo, she got like a whole beehive. If she responds to this shit, I'm fucked up.
Yeah,
For
nigga, they
sure.
gonna
Quote
come for you.
tweeted it. You would have been in them.
But yo, all right, we do one thing before we close out. We got a challenge, right? We challenge the listeners to do something. It might be some fuckboy shit. It might
Yeah.
not be.
Yeah,
But-
it's up to you.
You're gonna be last, so you got some time to think. Listen, my challenge is don't be out here lying to people. Be real. Be
number one
honest.
on my list.
And live your motherfucking best life. Chatty-O, what's up? What's the
Living
challenge?
my best life. I ain't going back and forth with you, nigga. Yo, my challenge is you ain't gotta have you an African dude, yo.
These American niggas is alright though. These American niggas is
I
alright
will say to that thought, there's this like the haters of my haters say that I'm obsessed with Nigerian dick, which so it's entirely hilarious.
though. Really?
This is whole thing. It's like, but you know
Shout out
what?
to my nigga Bro. What's
I
up,
will
bro?
say no, I don't pursue.
Niger.
I only date black men,
Nice
but I will say
boys.
dating African American men. They
Versus.
always tell me I talk too much, and maybe that's why I like this dude I met because he was a lawyer and he was African American and he talked more than me.
Oh my god.
Listen,
You gotta talk.
that
Lawyers
nigga special.
I gotta meet this guy, Juicy.
No, she said it
Because niggas always be like, yo, you talk too much, ma. Shut up. And I be like, damn.
That's
All right,
the
Tommy,
name.
what you got? What you got, Tommy?
Yo, my challenge.
Yo.
Oh my god, get this
Stop
guy.
lying.
Juicy almost spit out her
yeah.
monkey shoulder.
As a feminist, and a man, take your woman to something shit. Do some shit you never did before.
Hey.
Take on a magic carpet ride. Be her prince. Do some different shit.
Fuck out of here.
Jesse, what's up,
That's my
Jess?
challenge.
The sigh.
Deep.
Yo, get her the
Sorry,
fuck
I
out of here
had
early.
way too much of this monkey shoulder.
Yeah, it's
Deep
monkey
is the
shoulder.
And y'all know I love my rosé, but
Lean.
my challenge to the world, to Brian's point, is to be honest, stop lying, and
You can't duplicate the challenge.
All right, well,
You can't
fine, my
duplicate
own
the
shit.
challenge. Get your own shit.
keep it 100.
My challenge is that
Her challenge is keep it 100.
I
It's-
got it.
it's
I
on
got
you.
it. So we're
It's on
gonna
you,
close
Juicy.
out with a bang.
Nah,
My challenge is
no.
to have more sex and ain't nobody business. To keep it safe, nigga.
Bong bong. Yo, it's
That's
abstract
Only if you
square,
really
yo.
like them.
What?
You don't have to
Yo,
like somebody to
get
fuck
Jess
them.
the fuck out
I
of here.
have
The only
to. That's
requirement
my
for
thing.
sex is to keep it safe and get what the fuck you want out of
And
it.
like them.
That's it.
Like them. Don't just be giving your vagina to
Bitch,
any
what
and
kind of
everybody.
respectability politics shit are we
Anyway,
talking
Chatty-O,
about?
close
nigga?
this out.
Yo, can I,
Drop it low
Yeah,
and
stay away
spread it
from
wide
married
if
men,
you
girl.
want to. Okay, thank
I-
you.
can I close this
Amen.
shit
They
out?
told me I was a hoe and Howard child.
What?
No,
Child.
my
Who the fuck
God.
cares?
I
Don't
said
nobody
the
know
first
my body
I'm
time.
trying
count.
to close this shit out.
Okay, close it.
We know Jessica shit.
I'm launching a podcast.
Yo,
Yes,
we
I
gotta be
cannot
on this shit,
wait.
Josie. We gotta be on this shit.
My podcast is more like actually, matter of fact, my co-host just emailed us back. We have a meeting tomorrow. It's a secret, and it's a heavily produced podcast. It's not like the talking.
Yeah,
head
because
thing.
Josie got like YouTube backing. I ain't fucking
Shout out to
with her,
Gimlet.
yo,
You're like,
yo.
who? You out
Well, actually, we have a call
said
with them.
it's
Thank
Let's
you.
go. Let's
Yo,
talk about it,
yeah.
my
She said
nigga.
it's a no.
Yeah, plug us as well. Thank
She
you.
said it's a no.
Yo, it's Abstract Square Podcast. Thank you for joining, Josie. Thank you for joining us.
Yeah, just make sure do the social promo for me. Send me a little clip that I can put up on IG stories or something.
Of course, of course.
She
Yo,
said
And-
IG stories.
Jess.
Shade, my nigga. Like,
yeah.
niggas don't get no post. You get an IG story. 24
Shit, nigga, I get 8,000
24
views on my
hours.
IG story. That's
Yo,
one post
she
on my
about to speak this
Instagram.
social
The fuck?
shit. Yo, can we get the fuck
I
out of
wish
here?
I
Yeah,
was
you gotta get the fuck out of
Wait,
here.
but can
Get the fuck
I
out
get
of
it?
here.
I mean,
That
I know
was
I'm
it.
not a YouTube star, but can I get a
No,
thank you? as well?
Yo,
Thank you,
yeah,
Jess.
Jess, thank you for coming.
Thank you. We love you.
Wait, pause. I'm gonna give it back to
We're back on your
to
podcast
Chad and
tomorrow.
Brian.
Some shit like that.
Yo,
Thank you, Jess.
Thank you, Jess.
Thomas is a hater.
Yo,
Yo, Abstract Square.